Another lavish welcome for President Trump, arriving to the United Arab Emirates, greeted by the president for his third and final stop on his Middle East tour.
This has been an amazing trip. We've raised trillions of dollars of investment for our country, and we're dealing with really good people that have been abandoned in a way by our country and by the United States.
For the president, diplomacy took a back seat to drumming up business. This week, Qatar signed a deal with Boeing to purchase up to 210 jets, a $96 billion investment. And business leaders in Saudi Arabia signed $600 billion worth in big tech deals.
The president's been very focused on how do we get more business coming to the United States, more investment from other countries into the United States.
UAE officials are adding to the economic wins Thursday, committing to a 10-year, $1.4 trillion investment in the U.S. through AI, energy, and aluminum production. But critics say the president is the main one to benefit from these deals.
Every single nation is doing personal business with Donald Trump and Donald Trump's companies. The Saudis have been a major investor in his real estate company. The Qataris are buying him a plane. The Emiratis are the biggest investor in his cryptocurrency. So he's there on his behalf. He's there in order to profit off of U.S. foreign policy.
In addition to securing economic investments, the president tried to use his clout to bring more stability to the Middle East, urging Qatar and the Saudis to convince Iran to abandon its nuclear program and foster better relations with the West. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Changes to close the gap. Our political reporter Greg Lee is tracking the governor's moves, and he's live in our newsroom. Hi, Greg.
Gossett, good afternoon to you. The governor still taking questions about his revised budget proposal for the 25-26 fiscal year at this hour, and a change to one of his signature policies. Here's the bottom line. After seeing a mostly balanced budget in January, fortunes have changed, and the state now faces a nearly $12 billion budget deficit. That's about 5% of the overall budget, and the governor blaming the shortfall in part on President Trump.
California is under assault. The United States of America, in many respects, is under assault because we have a president that's been reckless in terms of assaulting those growth engines. Has created a climate of deep uncertainty and certainly has California in his sights. Best to describe this as a Trump slump all across the United States. It's reflected in adjustments by every independent economist, by leading banks.
The governor there pointing to the major swings in the market after the president announced major tariffs on U.S. trading partners, and his ongoing negotiations have created uncertainty for investors as well as small businesses. Newsom saying California, the fourth largest economy in the world, is already seeing major impacts from the tariffs on the state's big partners like China, Mexico, and Canada. Governor Newsom and his economic team says all this will result in a $16 billion reduction to state revenues. Newsom is presenting the legislature with a $322 billion total budget that is seeing hits from the U.S. trade war, the destructive L.A. wildfires, and rising health care costs.
This is a tough budget in that respect. So I've been very prideful of the expansions and the progress we've made. But you have to level set with folks. The utilization, we now have 1.6 million people just on the NDOC side, which is about 10.7% of the total. It's about 14.9 million people that receive Medi-Cal in the state. Significantly larger number than we anticipated.
So how does he close the gap? The governor is proposing changes to the policy he launched last year that provides free health care to low-income, undocumented immigrants in the state. He is now suggesting a freeze on new adult applications through the program as early as January 1st. Additionally, he wants to charge a $100 monthly premium for undocumented adults in the program starting in 2027. He estimates these changes could save the state about $5.4 billion by 2028. Newsom already facing criticism from immigrants' rights advocates as well as Republicans. California Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones writing in part, quote, "If Newsom hadn't played politics by expanding this program in the first place, we wouldn't be staring down a $12 billion deficit. Now he's scrambling to shift blame, pointing to fires, tariffs, and everything under the sun." Newsom also acknowledged he does expect to see cuts to federal funding to California, which remains under scrutiny. The governor and California lawmakers must agree to a balanced budget by the July 1st start of the fiscal year. We continue to track responses from leaders on both sides, as well as nonprofit organizations, and as well as going through this 100-page budget proposal from the governor. Live in the newsroom, Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News. Garcia.
Greg, thank you.